Did she just expose something? Or did the internet hear what it wanted to hear? When boxing champion Claressa Shields went live, nobody expected the conversation to take that turn. But within minutes, clips were circulating, comments were exploding, and fans were suddenly questioning rapper Papoose. Cryptic statements, subtle tone shifts, a few words that sent social media into full detective mode. Was she hinting at something bigger? Was the internet overanalyzing? Or did that live accidentally reveal more than intended? Tonight, we're breaking down exactly what was said, what wasn't said, and why people are calling it a double life, even though no direct confirmation was given. Because sometimes the loudest story is the one the audience creates. No warning, no dramatic promo, no exposé announcement, just a regular live session. When Claressa Shields went live, fans expected the usual: confidence, motivation, maybe a little clapback energy. Instead, within minutes, the tone shifted. Not explosive, not chaotic, but layered. And that's all the internet needed. At first, the conversation felt casual. She addressed supporters, responded to comments, laughed off a few trolls. But then certain questions started appearing repeatedly in the chat. Questions about Papoose. That's when viewers noticed the pause. It wasn't what she said immediately. It was how she reacted. A slight smile, a careful choice of words, a sentence that felt loaded, even if it wasn't direct. She didn't accuse, she didn't confirm, she didn't drop a bombshell, but she did say enough to spark curiosity. And curiosity online spreads like wildfire. Full clips began circulating within minutes, short edits with dramatic captions, zoom-ins on facial expressions, comments highlighting specific phrases as if they were coded messages. One particular moment stood out. When asked directly about relationship rumors, she responded in a way that many viewers interpreted as confident, almost too confident. Not defensive, not emotional, just steady. And that steadiness raised eyebrows. Because when people expect chaos and get composure, they assume there's something beneath the surface. Then came the phrase that triggered the double life narrative. She referenced loyalty, transparency, energy. Again, not directed explicitly at anyone. But the internet connected dots instantly. And once the phrase double life appeared in comment sections, it took off. It didn't come from her mouth directly as an accusation. It came from viewers interpreting tone and implication. But once that phrase stuck, the storyline shifted. Now the conversation wasn't just, what did she mean? It became, what is he hiding? That's how fast digital narratives evolve. Within hours, blogs picked up the clips, TikTok creators reposted highlights, YouTube thumbnails featured bold red text and shocked expressions. Headlines framed the live as revealing something massive. But here's the key question. Did she actually expose anything? Or did the audience amplify ambiguity? There's a huge difference. When public figures speak live, every pause becomes analysis material. Every word becomes dissected. Live streams are raw, no editing, no PR, filtering in the moment. That authenticity is powerful, but it's also risky. Because viewers don't just listen, they interpret, they project, they theorize. And when it comes to relationships involving public figures, speculation intensifies. Another detail that fueled the fire was timing. The Livy came amid ongoing chatter about personal dynamics, so fans were already hyper-aware. When someone is already looking for confirmation, even neutral statements can feel revealing. That's confirmation bias at work. Some viewers felt she was subtly standing her ground. Others believed she was hinting at something deeper without wanting to say it outright. A few thought she was simply responding to trolls and nothing more. But online, the most dramatic interpretation usually wins. The double life angle spread faster than any neutral analysis. It was clickable. It was mysterious. It implied secrecy without needing proof. and secrecy drives engagement. Meanwhile, Papoose remained publicly silent, and silence online rarely stays neutral. Within 24 hours, the narrative had solidified. Something must be going on. But again, based on what? A live reaction, a few layered responses, audience interpretation, no documented evidence, no confirmed statement, no explicit accusation. Yet the story felt massive. That's the power of perception. And perception often becomes stronger than facts in the early stages of viral moments. In Part 2, we'll break down the exact statements that viewers are pointing to, word by word, and examine whether they truly suggest a double life, or whether the internet filled in the blanks. Because sometimes the biggest reveal isn't what was said, it's how it was heard. Now let's slow this down, because when people say Claressa Shields revealed a double life, they're usually pointing to specific moments from that live, not a direct accusation. And that distinction matters. During the stream, when questions about Papoose started flooding the chat, she didn't dodge them completely. She addressed the energy around the situation. She talked about loyalty. She talked about honesty. She talked about how she moves when she feels respected, and how she moves when she doesn't. But she never explicitly said, "He's living a double life." So where did that phrase come from? It started in the comments. One viewer typed something along the lines of, "So he was living a double life?" Others repeated it. Reaction pages screenshotted it. Soon the phrase wasn't just a comment, it was a headline. This is how narratives form in real time. She made a statement about transparency being important in relationships. On its own, that's a universal value. But because it was said in response to questions about him, some viewers interpreted it as indirect confirmation of secrecy. Tone played a huge role. She wasn't laughing it off. She wasn't visibly upset. She seemed composed, firm, even. That firmness led people to assume there was substance behind it. Another key moment was when she mentioned that she doesn't compete with hidden situations. That phrase, while vague, became the centerpiece of dozens of short clips. Hidden situations. 2 words. Suddenly, and TikTok captions read, "She just exposed everything." YouTube titles read, "Double life confirmed." Instagram blogs wrote, "Is this what she meant?" But notice something important. Almost every headline ended with a question mark, because nothing was actually confirmed. What happened next is classic viral escalation. Reaction creators replayed the clip, zoomed in on her facial expressions, slowed down the audio for emphasis. They framed it as a reveal. Even when they admitted it was speculation, the framing leaned dramatic. And drama spreads faster than nuance. Another moment that caught attention was her comment about peace over confusion. That phrase triggered debate instantly. Some viewers interpreted it as walking away from dishonesty. Others believed it was simply general life advice. But once the idea of secrecy entered the conversation, every neutral phrase felt loaded. Context collapses quickly online. A statement about values becomes a statement about betrayal. A comment about boundaries becomes evidence of hidden behavior. And the more people repeat that interpretation, the stronger it feels. Meanwhile, Papoose's silence became part of the story. He didn't jump on live to respond. He didn't post a clarification. And in the internet's eyes, silence can feel suspicious, even when it isn't. But silence is not confirmation. This is where it's crucial to separate 3 layers. What was said, what was implied, what was assumed. What was said: general statements about loyalty, transparency, and avoiding hidden situations. What was implied? Possibly frustration or boundaries. What was assumed? A double life. That last layer came from the audience, not directly from her. And that doesn't mean something isn't happening privately. It simply means the public narrative may have outrun the evidence. It's also worth noting that live sessions are emotional spaces. People speak off the cuff. They respond to chat in real time. There's no script, no PR polish. That rawness is authentic, but it's also easy to misinterpret. A firm tone can be read as confirmation. A pause can be read as guilt. A smile can be read as sarcasm. Perception fills gaps quickly. Within hours, the double life phrase felt attached to the story permanently. Even people who hadn't watched the full live were using it confidently in comments. That's the power of repetition. But at this stage, what we have is interpretation layered onto broad statements. No detailed allegation, no direct claim of secret relationships, no concrete evidence presented publicly. Just ambiguity. Amplified. After the live ended, the clips didn't. Within hours, timelines were flooded with edits of Claressa Shields responding to questions. The phrases hidden situations and double life were now permanently attached to the moment, even though she never directly made a detailed accusation. But what truly accelerated the narrative wasn't what she said. It was what Papoose didn't say. Silence online rarely stays neutral. When one side speaks, even indirectly, and the other side doesn't immediately respond, the internet starts filling in blanks. People assume delay equals guilt. They assume quiet means strategy. They assume a statement is being drafted behind the scenes, but silence can mean many things. Choosing privacy, avoiding escalation, consulting legal or PR teams, or simply not feeding speculation. The problem is, digital culture doesn't like waiting. The longer there's no response, the more space speculation has to grow, and speculation thrives in that space. Reaction channels began asking, why hasn't he responded? If it's not true, why not shut it down? What is he hiding? Notice how quickly the language shifted from curiosity to assumption. Momentum does that. Once enough creators repeat a narrative, it starts to feel established. Even viewers who haven't watched the original live begin reacting to reactions. They're engaging with commentary, not the source material. This creates a layered rumor cycle. Live moment to clip, to reaction to blog post, to more reactions to headlines. By the time the story reaches its third or fourth layer, the original nuance is almost gone. And another factor intensifies it: timing. If previous rumors or relationship tension already existed in online conversation, this live moment feels like confirmation, even if it wasn't designed that way. Context from past narratives blends into the present one. That blending makes everything feel connected. Suddenly, old interviews resurface. Past photos get reanalyzed. Previous captions are reread with new meaning. This is digital retrofitting, reinterpreting old content through a new rumor lens. And it's powerful, because once people believe there's a double life storyline, they start searching for evidence to support it. Every old clip becomes potential proof. Every neutral moment becomes suspicious. Confirmation bias takes over. At the same time, supporters on both sides start forming camps. One camp says, she exposed him without saying it directly. The other says, the internet is twisting her words. Polarization fuels engagement. Engagement fuels visibility. Visibility fuels more polarization. It's a loop. What makes this situation especially interesting is that no detailed claim has been publicly laid out. No timeline of secret behavior. No verified report from a reliable source confirming hidden activity. Yet the phrase double life now trends alongside their names. That's the power of momentum. Momentum doesn't need evidence, it needs energy. And live streams generate energy. They feel raw, immediate, emotional. Audiences feel like they're witnessing something unfiltered. That sense of authenticity makes interpretation feel more trustworthy, even when it's subjective. But raw doesn't always mean revealing. It can mean reactive. And reactive moments are easy to misread. The longer Papoose remains publicly silent, the more anticipation builds. Some viewers expect a rebuttal, others expect confirmation. And until something definitive happens, speculation remains the dominant narrative. But here's the key truth. Absence of denial is not proof. Delay in response is not confession. Trending does not equal truth. Right now, what we have is a viral moment fueled by layered interpretation, amplified by silence, and sustained by audience engagement. The phrase double life is powerful. It implies secrecy. It implies betrayal. It implies a hidden reality waiting to be exposed. And that's exactly why it spreads so quickly. When Claressa Shields addressed relationship energy on Live, the internet didn't just hear boundaries, it heard mystery. And when mystery meets celebrity culture, the most dramatic explanation often wins. But why are audiences so quick to assume hidden lives? Because celebrity culture has trained us to expect them. Over the years, countless high-profile relationships have ended with shocking revelations, secret messages, hidden partners, overlapping timelines. Those past headlines condition viewers to look for patterns. So, when even a hint of ambiguity appears, people connect it to familiar storylines, it's narrative conditioning. When fans hear general statements about loyalty or hidden situations, their minds jump to worst-case scenarios. And when Papoose remained publicly silent, that silence became part of the suspense. Suspense drives engagement. Engagement drives visibility. Visibility turns speculation into mainstream conversation. Another factor is how social media rewards strong framing. A title that says, "She talked about loyalty," won't trend the same way as "Double Life Exposed." The latter carries tension. It promises revelation. Even when phrased as a question, it plants an idea. Once that idea is introduced, repetition cements it. Blogs repeat it. Reaction videos repeat it. Comment sections repeat it. And eventually, the phrase feels attached to the situation, even if it began as pure audience interpretation. There's also the emotional component. Fans often feel protective of public figures they support. If someone senses even slight disrespect or secrecy, they rally behind their favorite. That protective instinct can transform vague statements into evidence of wrongdoing. At the same time, critics may lean into the most dramatic version because it validates skepticism. Both sides amplify the narrative for different reasons. And then there's the psychology of secrecy itself. Humans are naturally drawn to hidden stories. The idea that someone might be living two realities at once feels cinematic. It feels like a plot twist. In entertainment culture, plot twists are compelling. But real life is rarely that dramatic, at least not without clear evidence. In this case, there has been no detailed public claim outlining a second relationship, secret timeline, or confirmed hidden activity. What exists is interpretation layered onto a live moment. Yet, because the double life framing is so emotionally charged, it overshadows nuance. This isn't about ignoring the possibility that private matters exist. It's about acknowledging that possibility is not proof. Celebrity rumor cycles operate on escalation. A neutral moment becomes suggestive. Suggestive becomes suspicious. Suspicious becomes accusatory. And accusatory becomes assumed. That escalation often happens before facts stabilize. The faster the narrative spreads, the harder it becomes to recalibrate. Even if clarification eventually arrives, the original dramatic framing lingers in search results, thumbnails, and hashtags. That's the reality of digital permanence. By now, the phrase double life is everywhere, attached to clips from Claressa Shields' Live and connected to Papoose. But here's the real question. Who turned interpretation into headline? Because the live itself didn't contain a detailed allegation. It contained tone. It contained layered phrasing. It contained boundaries. The rest came from amplification. So who carries responsibility when a rumor grows this fast? First, content creators. Reaction channels often operate in real time. They clip, comment, and upload within hours. Speed matters in digital media, but speed can blur caution. When a creator frames speculation as likely truth, even subtly, it shapes audience perception. A dramatic thumbnail, a confident tone, a suggestive title. Those elements influence how viewers interpret ambiguity. Second, media pages and blogs. Once a rumor gains traction on social platforms, blogs pick it up because it's trending. They often use language like fans believe or viewers speculate, technically cautious, but still amplifying, and amplification equals visibility. Third, audiences. This is the most overlooked layer. Every share contributes, every comment pushes engagement, every repost extends reach. Even saying "this is crazy" boosts the algorithm. We often treat rumors as something that just go viral, but virality is collective behavior. In the case of Claressa's live, viewers interpreted certain phrases as hints. Comment sections repeated those interpretations. Creators elevated the most dramatic angle. Blogs followed the momentum. And within 24 hours, the double life storyline felt established, despite no detailed public confirmation. This highlights a modern truth. Speculation doesn't need proof to spread. It needs engagement. Another key factor is emotional investment. Fans don't just watch celebrity stories, they feel them. Supporters rally behind their favorite. Critics lean into doubt. Emotional alignment shapes how information is processed. If someone already suspects hidden tension, they're more likely to interpret neutral statements as confirmation. That's confirmation bias in action. At the same time, there's the issue of silence. When Papoose didn't immediately respond, the narrative had room to grow. But silence doesn't automatically mean guilt. It can mean privacy, strategy, or simply choosing not to escalate. However, in digital culture, silence feels suspicious. The longer the gap, the louder the speculation. So can anyone slow this down? So it's difficult, but not impossible. Creators can choose measured framing. Blogs can avoid sensational headlines. Audiences can pause before sharing. Language matters. "There are rumors" is different from "he's living a double life." "Fans speculate" is different from "confirmed." Those small distinctions shape public memory. Because once a dramatic label attaches to a name, it's hard to detach. Even if clarification arrives later, the initial shock often lingers. This situation becomes less about one live moment and more about how fast online narratives solidify. No detailed timeline has been publicly confirmed. No direct accusation has been formally outlined. No verified evidence has been presented publicly supporting a hidden life claim. Yet the phrase trends. After all the clips, captions, and commentary, let's separate this clearly. When Claressa Shields went live, she spoke about loyalty, transparency, and avoiding hidden situations. Her tone was firm. Her energy was controlled. Viewers interpreted depth in her words. But here's what is publicly confirmed. There has been no detailed public accusation outlining a proven double life. There has been no verified documentation released supporting secret parallel relationships. There has been no formal statement from Papoose confirming hidden activity. What exists is interpretation amplified at scale. The phrase "double life" did not originate as a formal allegation during the live. It emerged from audience reaction. It gained traction in comment sections. It became a framing tool in reaction videos. And once that framing stuck, it shaped the entire narrative. That's how momentum works. When something feels dramatic, it spreads faster than something measured. When a story hints at secrecy, it generates more engagement than one that suggests simple miscommunication or privacy. But engagement is not evidence. Right now, the situation sits in a space of uncertainty. There may be private dynamics the public doesn't know about. That's possible in any relationship. But possibility is not confirmation. It's important to distinguish between emotional tone, public proof, online assumption. Those three often get blended together in viral cycles. Another factor is digital permanence. Even if clarification eventually comes, whether confirming or denying the rumors, the initial double life headline will likely continue circulating. Screenshots and clips don't disappear easily. First impressions stick. That's why language matters early. Once a label attaches to someone publicly, removing it becomes difficult. Even unproven narratives can linger in search results, thumbnails, and comment threads. So what happens next? There are usually 3 possibilities in situations like this. A direct response clarifies everything. Silence continues and the story fades over time. New information shifts the narrative entirely. At this moment, we're still in the speculation phase. And speculation thrives when audiences demand instant answers. But not every live moment is an exposé. Not every firm tone is confirmation. Not every silence is guilt. Sometimes it's simply a boundary. The biggest takeaway from this situation isn't whether someone is living a double life. It's how quickly digital culture assigns that label based on layered interpretation. The internet doesn't wait for full context. It reacts to energy. And when that reaction multiplies, it feels definitive, even when it's not. Until there is clear, verified information presented publicly, the responsible position is uncertainty. Because trending doesn't equal truth, and viral doesn't equal verified. So what do you think? Was that live a subtle reveal? Or did the internet run with a narrative that wasn't fully there? Drop your honest take in the comments below. Do you believe there's more happening behind the scenes, or was the double life headline just viral momentum doing what it does best? Remember, in today's digital world, tone gets turned into truth fast. Before you repost, react, or pick a side. Ask yourself, is it confirmed, or is it trending? If you want more breakdowns that separate speculation from facts, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next deep dive. Share this with someone who lives in the comment sections. Let's bring clarity back to the timeline. Because sometimes the loudest story online isn't the whole story.